So what is female reproductive system? The female reproductive system is made up of female body organs that are responsible for fertility, reproduction, menstruation, and sexual activity. It includes both internal and external parts which work together to support this function. In this discussion, we will look at the internal and external organ as well as how the system works. So first, let's look into external female genitalia, or also referred as the vulva, which are located behind the mons pubis. These structures protect the openings of the reproductive and urinary system and are involved in sexual function. So there is a labia majora, which is the outer folds of the vulva. They protect the inner structures like the labia minora, clitoris, vaginal opening, and urethral opening. During puberty, hair grows on the labia majora. They contain sweat and oil-secreting glands. Inside the labia majora, there is labia minora. These inner folds surround the vaginal opening and the urethral meatus. The labia minora are sensitive and can easily become irritated or swollen. At the top of labia minora is the clitoris. It is a small and highly sensitive structure made of erectile tissue. On the either side of the vaginal opening are the Bartholin glands, which produce fluid to help lubricate the vaginal orifice. And lastly, there is hymen. It is a thin piece of tissue formed during fetal development and present at birth.
Now we're moving on to the internal female genitalia. The internal female genitalia is located within the pelvic cavity and it is protected by the bony pelvis. Its main parts are 2 ovaries, 2 fallopian tubes, 1 uterus, and 1 vagina. First, the female have 2 ovaries. The ovaries is a small almond-shaped organ located in lower abdomen on either side of uterus. In the ovaries, there are follicles. What is follicle? It is a fluid-filled sac containing a single ovum. What is an ovum, or also known as ova, or also known as egg? It is a female gamete which releases once a month in every month. Ovaries also produces sex hormones, which are estrogen and progesterone. Then, the female have 2 fallopian tubes. It is located at the end of the uterus and extend to the point near but not attached to an ovary. What is their function? Their function is to carry a mature ovum from the ovary to the uterus. It also carries sperm outward from the uterus toward the descending mature ovum, which causes fertilization. The fallopian tubes have fimbria, which is a finger-like extension, and its function is to catch the mature ovum when it leaves the ovary. Then, it also has infundibulum, which is a funnel-shaped opening into the fallopian tube near the ovary. The third part of the female genitalia area is uterus, also known as womb. It is a pear-shaped organ with muscular walls and mucous membrane lining filled with blood vessels. It is located between urinary bladder and rectum. It has 3 main parts: fundus, which is the top bulging part, and then there's corpus, which is the middle part of the uterus. Then finally, there's cervix, which is the lower narrow part, which extends to the vagina. There are 3 layers of tissue in the uterus. First, there is perimetrium. Perimetrium is at the outer layer, which is tough. Then, the second layer is the myometrium, which is a muscular middle layer. Then, lastly, there is endometrium, which is the inner layer, and it consists of epithelial mucosa that is rich in blood vessels. And finally, there is vagina, which is the muscular tube extending from the cervix to the outside of the body. The vagina is also lined with mucosa.
Lastly is the breast. The breast is an important accessory organ of the reproductive system. It is located on the chest and consists of glandular tissue, fat, and connective tissue. The glandular tissue contains mammary glands that produce milk. Each mammary gland is made up of lobes and lobules that connect to lactiferous ducts, and these ducts carry milk to the nipple, which is surrounded by the areola. And the breast also contains blood vessel, nerve, and lymph nodes in the armpit that provide nutrition, sensation, and immune support.
Okay, the next is I will explain about the egg production. Egg production takes place in the ovaries. It takes several steps to make an egg. The first is special cells in the ovaries go through mitosis process, which is producing identical cells, and then the cells start to divide by meiosis process. They go through the second stage of cell division after the female goes through puberty. The next is in a mature female, an egg develops in ovary about once a month. The picture shows how this happens. As you can see from the picture, the egg rests in a nest of cells called a follicle. The follicle protects the egg as it matures in the ovary. Okay, the next is hormone secretion. We can refer the picture in the slide. The hypothalamus and the pituitary gland control the secretion of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone. These two work together to regulate the process of ovulation and menstruation in a woman. Gonadotropin releasing hormone from the hypothalamus stimulates secretion of luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone from the pituitary gland. These hormones then stimulate the ovary to produce the hormones estrogen and progesterone. Increased blood levels of estrogen and progesterone provide negative feedback, signaling the hypothalamus to stop further secretion of gonadotropin releasing hormone. Okay, the next is menstrual cycle. You can see the picture in the slide. The cycle begins with menstrual phase, which lasts for 3 to 7 days. During this phase, the uterus sheds its lining, resulting in menstrual bleeding. The average blood loss is around 30 to 40 milliliters. And then is follicular phase. It typically lasts for about 10 to 14 days. During this phase, follicle stimulating hormone prompts the ovaries to produce mature eggs within follicles. As the eggs mature, they release estrogen, which stimulates the thickening of the uterine lining. While of that is ovulation, which is usually between days 12 and 16. Ovulation is the release of mature egg from the ovary into the fallopian tube. Ovulation is the most fertile period of the menstrual cycle, and conception is most likely to occur if sexual intercourse takes place within a day or two of ovulation. The next is luteal phase. Luteal phase begins for 10 to 14 days. The erectile follicle in the ovary transforms into the corpus luteum and produces progesterone. Progesterone prepares the uterus for pregnancy by further thickening the endometrium. If fertilization does not occur, the corpus luteum degenerates, hormone levels drop, and the menstrual phase starts again.
So now I'll be talking about the process of fertilization, where during coitus, when the male ejects his semen into a female, where the sperm in the semen will swim upwards to the vagina, into the uterus and fallopian tubes. So when the sperm penetrates and fertilizes the ovum, it will form a single cell called a zygote. After the fertilization in the fallopian tube, the zygote will travel back to the uterus, where it is implanted. Through the 8th week of pregnancy, the developing baby will be known as the embryo. And from the 9th week of pregnancy until birth, the baby in utero will be known as the fetus. So next, I will also talk about gestation, which is also known as pregnancy. So gestation is the period of development of the baby in the uterus. And the average time for gestation is approximately around 280 days, which is around 40 weeks. and it can be divided into 3 trimesters, which is around 13 weeks each trimester. And the due date can be calculated from the first day of the last menstrual period. So now I will move on to childbirth, which has 3 stages. So the first stage is dilation, which is the longest stage. And the changes that can happen in this stage are the effacement of the cervix, which is a process where the cervix prepares for delivery, the rupture of amniotic sac, which can cause amniotic fluids to leak, and also gradual dilation. So if we refer to the dilation board, the cervix can dilate from 1 centimeter until 10 centimeters. So once it reaches 10 centimeters, it will proceed to the second stage, which is the delivery of the baby. So in this stage, the mother will push to expel the baby through the vagina, and normally the baby's head will come first, which is also known as cephalic presentation. And the last stage is the expulsion of the afterbirth. In this stage, the delivery of the placenta will occur. But before the delivery of the placenta can happen, and after the delivery of the baby, the cord must be cut off first. And also in this stage, umbilical cord blood can be collected so that its stem cells can be saved and used for future treatments. In conclusion, the female reproductive system is a complex and a well-organized one. It is made up of internal and external organs that work together in order to support reproduction. Hormones regulate egg production, the menstrual cycle, and also ovulation. And if fertilization occurs, the uterus will support fetal development until childbirth. And understanding this system is important in order to maintain reproductive and maternal health.